as comfortable as it gets with using formulas. You will not know everything, and you're not supposed to know everything because Excel has an extensive list of formulas and functions and other capabilities as well. So the more you explore, the more you get to know and understand how to use them. So, but we'll go through some essential functions like the max, the minimum, and average. Yesterday, we took a look at the sum and using arithmetic in our formulas as well. So, we'll look at some of all that and then we'll take a look at some additional formatting. Yesterday, we started on all that, but today we'll take some activities on that end as well. So we need formulas to work with the data that we collect because more often than not, the data that's collected has to be transformed, it has to be processed so that we get the additional information or the actual value that there is in the data that we've collected. Do you understand? If the vice chancellor goes to the deans of every school and asks them to give her the individual exam scores of all students from last semester, that raw data may not be of much value to her because what's she going to use it for? If she's able to sit down and then draw some statistics from it and say that most students score an E or most students score a B or a C, and she knows that this is the level of let me say the average level of the students in university, then she can set targets as to what to do and what not to do in the next academic year and a whole lot. So just like in this instance and in many other instances, it influences business decisions and a whole lot of things. It's better than just sitting in her office and then just making the decisions on the fly or maybe on the go or maybe even guessing. You understand? Yeah. So we'll look at all that. We'll process all the data that we are collecting and all that. So today I'm going to use the data that is being reflected in the slide so that we all get a better appreciation of what we are doing. So I'm just going to take a few moments to type everything out. And I'm doing this here so you all see that the Excel thing that we always talk about is nothing complex. Okay. So what I have currently is the table headers. We have employee, so their names. We have their email address, the number of dependents. Dependents is the people they take care of. The hours worked. Someone has their mic unmuted. All right. So the hours worked, the hourly pay rate, gross pay, federal tax, state tax, the nominal tax, net pay, and then hire date. Let me insert a column. So I missed the actual header. So I'm saying Olivia's art supply Insert another one. Salary reports. Okay. And reminiscent of what we did yesterday, I'm going to select all these cells and I'm going to merge and center just like that. I'll do same for this side as well. Then I think we have 10 records in there. So I'm going to take the time to do that. Enoch Kwejo, can you ask your question while I do this myself?
I was wondering if you could zoom in because I'm unable to see clearly.
Sure thing, sure thing. I'm hoping you guys will follow the class closely. All right. So all right. Then we have highest. We have lowest. And we have average. All right. So this is the structure of, please put your hands down if, you know, um, all right. This is the entire structure of the sheet we are working with today. The name of the sheet is salary report. Salary report. And that's it. And we have their names. I'm just going to fill in the email address. Just going to pre-fill it in. So Excel realized it's an email address and automatically made it a link. So when I click, it tries to open up an email. All right. Mm. coming. Okay. So we have dependent. We have 2, 1, 0, 3, 2. Yeah, 0, 0, 2, 1. And then the hours that they worked. So this guy worked for 64.25 hours. Mm. Okay. There is one data point missing. 64, 80, 72. All right. Then there's their hourly pay rates. So what everybody is paid per hour, and seems that's everybody has a unique hourly pay rate. So 19.75. All right. I hope you guys have been able to follow so far. Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I just filled the higher dates with today's date, so I won't have to go through the trouble of typing all of that out. Okay. So now we have our data entry all done.
Hello,
So
sir.
we yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Please, how did you move the department house work into the middle, like the salary reports?
So we did that yesterday. So if you're asking that question, it means that you didn't pay attention in yesterday's class. So this was how it was before, right?
Yes.
And I wanted to center it across this number of columns. So I selected that entire range. And then there's a button called merge and center here. This is how it
Yes.
looks. I just click on it and that's done. So I
Oh,
repeated the same thing for this side as well, merge and center. If
okay.
you look
Thank you.
at if you look at the original worksheet in the slides, what they have actually done is that they've selected the first two rows and then columns A to K, and then they've actually merged and centered. So this is what they have, and then um, I'm wondering how to insert a line break. That's salary. I have to keep muting you guys. Please be diligent about it. All right. So this is originally how it is, but I'll just maintain that for now. And then we have some styling all about in the entire table. But let me see if I can just do that. Sales styles. Yeah. So I pick heading. This column, this row, which will be our totals, should also have, yeah, totals like.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. All right, you can go back to me. Yes, we can hear you. Okay. So I'm saying that even though I don't have data in almost all of these cells, I'm applying formatting to the cells. The formatting will remain in place. And when I do enter data in there, you realize that the data will not come with the default styling, but the styling or the formatting that I have specified. So all these are statistic cells. So I've just applied some formatting in there. So if I put, let me say, 50, you realize it looks different from when we're entering data here. But that's just by the way. Okay. So there in the slides we have flash fill. Let me demonstrate that to you. So I think so with flash fill, you start typing in, you type in something in one cell, you go to the next cell, you start typing again. Realize that Excel suggested to me because it has an instance of that same data in the same column. So if let's say I was doing male and female for gender, and I start typing M, it will pre-fill in male for me, so that I don't have to type everything. But to take it a bit further, let's go to the data tab and see what we have there. Flash fill. So this is flash fill. So we looked at all the data next to your selection and didn't see a pattern for filling in values for you. Okay, so the flash fill is not working for text. But what it does is that, so if I started entering 2, 4, 6, 8, and there is a pattern, Excel will try to deduce the pattern and then pre-fill the subsequent cells for me. So we don't have that. Let me just go ahead and maintain this for now, but we'll demonstrate that in some other columns. All right. So we've entered our row titles, and then
Okay. So let me say welcome.
someone has their mic on. Right. So okay, the next step in the slides is to change the sheet name and then the color. So we've already have changed our sheet name, but if you want to change the color, there's a tab color. You can make it green. So there's a green highlighting behind there. The text is green. Let me make it something else. So this is it. So you can color code your sheet tabs so that you can identify them better. All right. Now we are going to enter formulas to calculate the rest of the things that we are going to be working on. So first we have to calculate their gross pay. And when you start working and you have a monthly salary and everything, there is either a pay rate or a fixed salary, depending on who you are working for and what they decide to do. So if you are working on a wage basis or a rate basis, they will count the number of days in a month you came to work and then multiply it by your daily rate. If you are working on an hourly rate, then they'll calculate the number of hours you worked in the entire month and then multiply that by the hourly rate. So here we have our hourly rate and then we have the number of hours worked. So to calculate gross pay, there's nothing like overtime and all the other complex things here. This one is pretty simple. So I know that to get my gross pay, I have to multiply the hours worked by the hourly pay rate. So it's equal to this is hourly. The hours worked for Joanne is in D4. So equal to D4 multiplied by the multiplication in Excel is the asterisk multiplied by E4. That's where Joanne's hourly rate is. E4. I can't use any other cell for this because the hourly rate is unique to everybody. So when I press enter, it calculates the gross pay for me. And to make sure that this is money that we are dealing with, I'll just make it a currency column, currency. And then I can change the currency to the Ghana cedi like this. So this is what Joanne is earning at the end of the month. Gross pay. It means that they've not taken taxes out, they've not taken social security, they've not taken all those deductions and everything out. It's her gross pay. To replicate the same thing for the others, I'm just going to use our fill handle like we demonstrated yesterday. I'm just going to drag it through. And you realize that everybody is getting unique values for their gross pay. If we inspect closer, you realize that even though we entered D4 multiplied by E4 in for Joanne, when we filled in for Michael, we got D5 multiplied by E5. So the formula has been updated intelligently for all of them. So I didn't have to do all the work. Imagine doing this with the calculator and then entering it or typing in the formula becoming a unique formula for each of them. So this is where Excel comes in and demonstrates its power. We did this yesterday, so I'm just going to continue on that. Someone puts their hand up. If you don't have any question, then we'll move on. So this that we did, this is basic arithmetic. So you could have used, if your formula required you to do addition, subtraction, or division, you prefill that as well. As for that one, I'm not the one who's going to show you how to do it. There's no YouTube tutorial that will show you how to calculate the gross pay in your specific company. Because for some companies, they may add a whole lot of, what you call it, variables. You get it. There may be bonus, there may be deductions for disciplinary issues and everything. But this is the basic thing. So based on the use case and your domain, you should know exactly what you are doing. But the technical aspect, knowing what Excel can give you and what you can do with it, is what we are taking care of here. This is just a scenario to demonstrate it to you. And then now we have to calculate the federal tax and then the state tax. And in our data, I don't see any, you know, rates to calculate the tax. So give me a moment. All right. So I think what I'm going to decide to do is that for the federal tax, you're going to impose a flat rate of 20%, which is quite generous. So let me say down here, I'm going to say federal tax rate. And this will also help us demonstrate the concept of relative and absolute referencing that we learned yesterday. So I'm going to say 20. And then state tax. And let's say the state tax will also be I want to add a factor where we include a dependent. So it will be, let me say, state tax rate. Let's say that's 10%. But when we are calculating it, we'll factor in the dependents as well. So if you have more dependents, your rate will be reduced. Anyways, all right. So to do that, to calculate my federal tax, I start with my equal to sign because you're going to input a formula. And so equal to gross pay, because you're going to, whatever we are going to do, we're going to effect it on gross pay. So gross pay is currently F4. F4. Multiply B18 like this. So I press enter. Actually, I made a mistake. So we are supposed to have B18 divided by 100 because it's a percentage. All right. So this is 20% of Joanne's salary, and that's what the federal government is going to take. If you are confused about federal and state government, that's the system of government used in the United States and Nigeria and all that. So they have state governments and then they have federal government. So both of the two governments will take their taxes. anyways. So now there's going to be a problem that I'm going to try to predict here, that I'm going to pre-fill in the values, and you realize that we have an issue. If you're calculating the F4 multiplied by percent of B18, if we come here, it's now trying to calculate the rates, the with the federal tax rate with this guy. And because there's a value here, it's able to get a value. But it's actually 10% of this, not 20%, which was the our intention. And if you come here, it's now doing it with B20, and there's nothing in B20. So because this is currency, instead of showing you, telling you that you're trying to divide by 0 or something, it just puts dash over there. But this is not what we intended. Excel is using relative referencing to address the range of cells. When in actual sense, we intend to do is, so even though when we come here, we expect that, yes, to use F5, F6, F7 like that, we want B18 to remain constant. B18 to remain constant. It should not change. And we learned how to do that yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my percentage sign to B and then to 18. I'm not going to add percent to 1 and then add percent to 8 individually. B18 is the address. The address has two parts. The B referring to the column and 18 referring to the row, not B18. So percentage B, percentage 18. This means that the reference to our federal tax rate is absolute. It's not supposed to change and all that. So let me delete all these guys. And then now let me use our fill handle one more time. And this time, if you look in there, you realize that F6, F7, F8, F9, F10, F11, F12, but B18 is not changing. Do you see that? Good. Now, if you had any confusion about this as at yesterday, today should, let me say, allay your misunderstandings. Now, we are going to do a similar thing for state tax. And so the formula I'm going to use is, so your gross pay, which is F. Now, when I'm typing in a formula and I click somewhere, what Excel does is that it just puts in that cell reference in my formula for me. So I can just, do all that. And I'm going to multiply that by, this time we are going to use the state tax rate. So the state tax rate is currently in this cell, B19. So I'm going to have B19 minus the number of dependents. You get it? So it means that if you have more dependents, so let's say dependents are children. If you have more children, your state tax rate will be reduced by the number of children that you have. So you pay a little bit less tax. So again, so there's another thing that happens with the Excel when you don't intend to do some of these things, then it's I saw some hands up. If you have a question, please ask.
So please, can you go over how to fill in the federal tax?
Come again?
So can you go over how to fill in the federal tax?
How to fill in the federal tax.
Yes, please.
So we are currently in the middle of something else. And then you want us to go back. So let's finish this and let me see if I can go back. Emmanuel, you have a question.
Please, my question is that why wasn't the and divided by 100 didn't change? It was when you move, it still remained constant.
The divided by 100 in this formula.
Yes.
Because the divided by 100 is not a reference, it's a value. 100 is 100. You get it? It's just a value.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I tell you to go to computer science department and tell Sir Michael that, or let me say every day go to Sir Michael and give him the latest update on the CD dollar rate. You know who Sir Michael is, right? If you go to the department, you look for his office, you find him, and then you tell him, Sir Mike, today this is the rate. Oh, today is 14 cedis, today is 20 cedis, today is this, is that. Every day you go there, you do that. Even if you go there and Sir Michael has changed his office, he's still Sir Michael. So you find him and you tell him the rate. You understand? But if I change the instructions that I give to you, I say every morning, go to the department, look for the secretary, and tell her the latest of the CD dollar rate. If you go today and what's her name? Becky is the one there. You will tell Becky, right? If you go there next Wednesday and there's a different person there, as long as she's the secretary, you would give her the update because that's the instruction that I gave to you. If you go there and you don't know please, who is the secretary? They tell you this is the secretary. You tell him or her what the rate is. So depending on the instruction, that's what will determine what exactly we are doing. Sometimes you'll be given a value to work with. The value is a value. It will not change. But sometimes you'll be given a variable. In this case, the variable is a reference to someone. That someone may change. That's why it's called a variable. You understand?
Please. Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So move on. So we are not done with this particular formula. So we have multiply by, so all of this, I'm going to put all of this in brackets. So that I divide everything by 100. So it means that um, the original rate is 10%, but for Betty, because Bennett has 2 children or 2 dependents, her rate will be reduced to 8%. So she's only paying 8% state tax. Do you understand? That's what it means. And here again, you should be able to also predict that we are also going to have the same issue of referencing here as well. So we want the state tax rate to be constant. So we'll put the dollar sign to affix everything and then make it constant. But F4 is just a reference to the gross pay. It will be updated. C4 will also be updated. So when I come here, then I fill it in for all the others. If you look at it, if you can use your calculators to cross-check, they'll be paying different rates. If you look at Emmanuel Celine, he has 0 children, so he's supposed to pay the 10%, the full 10%. So if you look at it, his this is 10% of his money. You understand? So I think we are clear on that. And someone has 3 children, so Teresa has 3 children, so she's probably paying less. So that 10%, instead of paying 180 cedis, she's now paying 75 cedis. All right. So I guess we are on track. So imagine all the work that would have had to do typing all this out and everything. And when the something changes, you have to change all of them again. You understand? All right. So now we are going to calculate the total tax. So the total tax will be equal to, I'm going to use a function now because I don't want to be doing all the work, typing everything out. Sum of what and what, summing all the tax together. So when you see this hashtag, it means that there's not enough space to display what it wants to display. And some things you can't really display part of it. Something like money. Excel will not do it. So Excel will tell you that there's no space. When you see this hash pound or yeah. So the formula for this is simple. The sum of G4 to H4. G4 to H4 is the two different taxes that we have. So total tax, essentially. And I'm going to fill that in for all of them. And if you look, the formula is unique to all of them. Now to calculate the net P, which will be, let me say, what people will call your take-home pay, is going to be equal to your gross pay minus your tax, right? I press enter. So whichever one is simple for you, you do it. If you know there's a function that is going to make your life easy, don't stress about it. Just go and use the function. Nobody's going to pay you extra for using an elaborate formula or something. And if you're writing an exam, nobody's going to give you a whole lot of marks for all this. What you have to do is to make sure you get it right and done. But if the instruction says use this and use this specifically, then you have no choice. You understand? But when it comes down to it, do what gets the work done as easy as possible. That's what Excel is supposed to do. So I fill it in. But someone is taking 1,200, but now she's taking 913 cedis home. Hey, 1,800 to 1,003. Wow. Anyways, so this is it. Now, we are now going to look at generating some summary statistics for all the data that we've collected. Totals, highest, average, lowest, average, and all that. So to do that, let me see. Average of dependents. No, let's start with the totals. So this is going to be the sum of all their dependents, essentially. And I'll just do that by using the sum. So when I click it, Excel intelligently picks up the data and everything. If Excel makes a mistake and let me see, this is not what I intended to use for my sum, all you have to do is to edit it. So even though Excel is doing this, you being there or you using it, you should also be intelligent enough to know and adjust and adapt some of these things. But for now, it's all good. So I press enter. I'm done. Um, Let me see. I want to calculate the totals for all these things as well. So I'm just going to pre-fill the formula all the way through. C4, C2, C12, this, that, this, that. Unfortunately, it's also copied the formatting for the totals as well. So it's not using a Ghana series specified for the columns, but we can just remedy that by selecting all the currency cells and coming back here and saying currency. You know what? Let me just, okay. and we are done. So let me reduce it a bit so that we can get a bigger picture. This is our totals. There's no need to calculate the total of the dates. Then we have our highest. The highest, to do that, there's a function for that called max, max. Let me see if I can, we have it here. So when I click on that, it's including the totals values in my max. And I don't want that. So I'm just going to, edit that. Where is it? Max. The range is not supposed to include the total. So the maximum is 3. And then I can fill that in all the way here. So the hardest worker here worked for 80 hours. The person who is taking the most generous rate is taking 23.1 per hour. The person with the highest pay is getting paid 1,800 gross pay. The person paying the highest tax and everything. So you can cross-check all that. To calculate the lowest, we use the function min. If you don't want to use the shortcuts over there, you can just do this min. Then I select the range. That's it. The minimum here is 0. I can pre-fill all that. And there really isn't anything complex to it. Average. And then select my range. It calculates my average for me. I pre-fill it. Give me a moment. Let me. Yeah, Manuel, you have a question.
Yes, please. Please. I was saying that if in the calculation of the total, the highest and the lowest, if you want
Mhm.
your decimal point to be only in two decimal point place, how will you do it? And also another question, with the federal rate, with the rating, if you don't want to add divided by 100 and you write 20%, does it also take effect, or you have to bring the divided by 100? Thank you.
Okay. So there are let me say, to answer decimals. And for your second question, I think you can either the experiment on your own and see what works, what doesn't. The things I get updates all the time and a whole lot of things. So there are some things, even though I appreciate you asking the question, I'll let me say, I'll appreciate it more if you do some of these things so you get to see for yourself. But we'll try it anyways. So we'll get to that. Just let's follow the lesson plan and we'll get there. All right. So I think that's all the fields we have to calculate. So now we can get to formatting the worksheet. All right. So for something like all these to enforce the decimal point or the decimal system, because we specify these ones as currency. Currency doesn't have more than 2 decimal places, so that comes automatically. But for the remaining ones, realize that this one is 23.1 and all that. But over here, even the ones that don't have decimal values get affixed with 0.00. So to do the same thing for all of them, I'm just going to select the entire thing, and there's, but I can use to increase or reduce them. Decimals, this one's decimals. I'm going to increase it. So it gave me the highest +1. So I'm now going to start reducing them till I get to 2. Now here we are. This is as simple as it gets. I can do the same thing for this side. And that's it. You understand? And then for the percentage, let me put 20% here and see. So now you see that the values here have all been updated. Sorry, this is federal tax. So it updates the federal tax and then the tax itself, then the net P. So it means that I don't have to include divided by 10 by 100 in my formula anymore. So I update everything and we are back to where we were. So you can either go with this or this and then enforce it in your formula, whichever one is preferable to you. Do you understand? And for something like an hourly rate and everything, let me select all this and then let me make it a percentage style. But if you look at this, because Excel doesn't want to make the mistake of influencing the rest of the data that's depend on the hourly rates instead of the you understand? Let me undo that. If I make it 19.75%, it's just, let me increase the number of decimal places if I can. Yeah. 19.75. This will be 23 points like this, like this. And you realize as I'm making this, all these adjustments, the data is also, the calculated cells and fields are also getting updated. And now what we are doing then is multiplying this by this, which doesn't make sense because you're now paying them a fraction of their this thing rates. But this was just to demonstrate. So I'll just go back and Yeah. So when you have things like percentages, as long as you know what you are doing, just feel free and go ahead. All right. So we are going to continue, and we can select the entire thing and add some formatting. Usually I don't really prefer because it goes over the top a lot of the time. Let me select this. Where is the data for your table? The data is here. This is where the data is. And my table has headers. Okay. Formulas or rich data types in the header. Oh, I should have selected yes. But let me go back and redo it. You can either select type this in manually, or you can select it the way I'm doing. So yeah, now we have some formatting for our table. I actually made a mistake with the headers. So, but anyways, you know how to do this. I'm not going to stress over it. So, worksheet title and subtitle. This worksheet title thing. I'm going to disable this merge and center. This contain etc. You look how to disable. So you see there's a border around our title. And to update the background, let me say I add this light blue. And then I come down to our subtitle. This time a lighter blue. And, and then you've seen how some of the data is oriented properly. So if you look at the textual data, like the names and everything, they are aligned to the left. Numbers are aligned to the right. When you look at currency, the symbol is aligned to the left and then the amount is aligned to the right. For some of these things, based on what industry you are working in and your specifications of your document, it's still the same old functions and things in there. This is aligning vertically, but you can align to the left, align to the right, align center, and all that. This is all there for you. We've tried the accounting number format. That's what we are using for our tax and then our pay and all that. So we've done that. We've applied a currency style as well. We've applied a percentage style. We demonstrated that with our hourly pay rate. And then this one, we added a percentage ourselves. We've also worked with decimals, increasing decimals, reducing decimals, and getting exactly what we want in there. So to try the conditional formatting, I'm going range and come to conditional formatting. Highlight cell rules. I say greater than because you're looking for people with more than one child. Greater than one. What do we want to, how do you want to pick them out? You want to display a yellow fill with dark yellow text. You say, okay. So anytime I come here, anybody with more than one child will always be in yellow. If I change this to 1, you realize that the cell formatting has changed to the default. If I make it 6, I press enter. It's going to affect the cells formatting. It's going to affect his state tax. It's going to affect his final tax and affect his final pay as well. So if I refer this back to 2, you see all that happening. This is the power of Excel. So I don't have to manually calculate. I don't have to manually update some of these things. This template, I'll use it for as long as possible. I used to work in an HR firm, and for the past 20 something years, they've been working with Excel. They have a template that works. They've been using it. When government adds policies, they update the templates. Maybe there are new reliefs. Government has taken out certain reliefs. Government has changed rates, tax rates, minimum base pay, and all those things. And they provide that as a service to bigger companies. Geodrill mining, they do the same for polytanks, polysacks, and a whole lot. That's their business. Excel, you get it. Until they called me in and asked me to give them something more custom. So uh, my team and I built something a lot more custom because they wanted to go to the next step. But for the past 20 something years, this is what they've been doing. So if you want to know what value there is in what we are learning, this is it. And it's now up to you to go there, either apply it working for someone or you can start something with it yourself. I think someone has their hand up. Benshall, Samuel.
Yes, sir. This my question is, can I use my company logo as a watermark when dealing with a sheet like this?
I'm sure you can, but not here specifically. When you are printing and all that, you can apply that. Let me go to view and see if view insert. I'm sure there is something like that. Probably not, but I know for Word you can insert watermarks. And if you can't do it here and you still want to do it, when you try to print, so yeah, actually printing these things is one thing that's so when you come to view, there is spell checking, there's thesaurus, a whole lot of things. These things are pretty simple. When you click spell check, it will check your entire document to see spellings is not familiar with. You can add to your dictionary, ignore them, and all that. Anyways, what we are looking for is view. So this is the normal view, the default sheet view. When it comes to the page break view, how it's going to look in, let me see, an actual book or in an actual document. Because in Excel, the cells are infinite, but there's no book that runs that's long of a stretch, or you get it. And in terms of the height of the document as well, there's no book that runs that infinite. These are the, let me see, standard dimensions of a ledger book. It may run longer, I think, but if you come to the page break view, it breaks your page, your document into separate pages, so you know exactly what it looks like. So I think you can see it's highlighting page 1, page 2, or something like that. So I'm sure, yeah, you can get a watermark. If you come to the page layout view, now this is what the original ledger book looks like. Anyways, so there are different views. You can create a custom view as well. Let me go back to the normal view. If I try to print, for me, I'll press Command P or Control P. It gives you how it will look when it's printed. So on Word, in Word, I think Word will usually display whatever watermarks that you have, or whatever watermarks will show when you try to when you actually print the document. But for here, I'm not seeing anything of that sort. You can actually export it to Word and add your watermark. That's a whole different process, and I think you should take that up on your own if you really want to know how that works. You can do it. Just that I don't think Excel natively allows you to do that, but you can export to Word and then add your watermark.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So this is how the document will look like when you print it. I can't print it for you to see, so but I press Control P and this is everything. You can come in here. This is where you adjust your settings. If you want to print black and white, you want to uh, maybe you want to print only the first page or the first page. You can change all that here as well. So you have layouts, you have paper handling. These things are pretty straightforward. Um, so now if you look here, even though we have formulas in a sheet, we are not seeing the formulas. If I wanted to print and print the formulas as well, I think there is, let me see. Someone puts their hand up. Ask your question.
Hi, sir. Thank you. I had a network issue and I couldn't hear what you were saying, so I was amicably asking whether you can go over what you were just saying. Thank you.
Okay, so I think what we're just discussing was the watermark. And I'm saying that at this point, to my knowledge, Excel doesn't support that natively. But you can go and find out if it does. It's just an internet search away. But what I do know you can do is you can export all of this to Word when you want to print or when you want to do something, and then add the watermark. And I think Word will be able to get you, let me see, a custom version. You can edit it, whatever color and everything and you can add it and then print your document or save it. So you can do that in Word. I do know that for sure. But for Excel, I probably won't. I want to do that. So you can explore that on your own. That was all there is to what we said. And so we are saying that
Thank you.
if we want to display the worksheet with formulas, all you have to do is press Control, and then there's an accent mark. The accent mark is, if you look on your keyboard, if you have the standard layout, that's the US or UK keyboard. Okay, the US keyboard is the key that comes before the one key on your number row. So under the escape key, there's one. It has a tilde and then the accent. So when you press Control plus that key, instead of showing you the values, it will show you the formulas on the sheets. You get it? So you know exactly what is going on in there. So all these formula cells, they are calculated. It means that for the cells that they depend on, as soon as I edit those values, these ones will get updated. So let me say we go to government says, oh, now we are not taking e-levy, we are not taking this. In fact, we are reducing the tax rates for the average Ghanaian and saying that instead of taking 20%, we are now going to take only 5%. Next month, when I come in and I create a copy of these sheets, I don't have to change anything. All I have to come here is come here and change the tax rate to, let me say, instead of 20%, I'll say 5%. I press enter. That's it. And the moment I revert back to, you realize that all these ones have been updated as well. And like I said yesterday, when you see this thing, it means that there's no space for it to display what it wants to display. So when I double click on the boundary between the two cells, it just adjusts automatically. Anyways, so this is all there is to it. Does anyone have any question? It's 11:48. I think we are a little over the hour mark. We have quite some time. We may want to do something different today. Let's see. So if you have any questions, any concerns, let's deal with that first before, Pascal, your hand is up.
Sir, please, the currency symbol was attached to the value.
So that's not unusual. That's the default currency. What we are currently using here is accounting. So you can either change to that or you can maintain your currency based on what you want. You understand? It doesn't have to be like this all the time. Based on what you want and what you have to do. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Is there anyone else with any question? Pascal, your hand is still up. All right. If there's no other question relating to this class, then I think what I'll do is I'll open. Okay, Joshua.
Sir, please, I want to find out. So, if the company is paying Senate for the workers, how are you going to physically?
Okay, so if the company was paying SNET, we'll have to enter, let me say, an extra column or an extra field and just include that in our calculations. So I'm going to save this file and put it in your WhatsApp group, but you can experiment with all that by yourself. You understand? It's going to be the same concept because the SNET that they calculate for you is also a percentage, isn't it?
Oh,
Just that the formula is sometimes a bit tricky because your employer will pay parts and you also pay parts. So that's for you to figure out. We are not going to go into that here, but I'm going to save this and uh put it in your WhatsApp group for you.
Okay.
is the course the course.
Sir,
Come
please,
again?
and one more thing.
Yeah.
Um, I went to Zakai. I was trying to access the recordings, the earlier class we had, and they told me I should enter my credentials, I think ID and name. I did that around last week Tuesday. Still, I haven't yet gotten access to that. So how can you please help me with it?
Okay, I think once you've expressed this concern, I'll review it with Michael and I'll act on this. Is that okay? Right. Somewhere we'll see.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please
Please,
go ahead.
you keep saying that we have lectures yesterday. I wanted to know if we actually had an official lectures yesterday, and then if yes, where I can find the video so that I can recover.
Okay, so we had a lecture yesterday to make up for the missed lecture last Sunday, the Sunday before today. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yes. So we went through lesson 5. That was the beginning of the Excel practicals and all that. So there's also a recording for that. I'll also get back to. I'll make sure that it's all uploaded and accessible by all of you. So I'll just communicate that to you in your WhatsApp group.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Daniel Yinsu.
Sir, please, could you go back to the place where you did the second header? I couldn't see it well.
The second header. So what did I do to it that you want to see? Daniel,
Yeah, you shifted. Yes.
what did I do that you want to see? Is it
Yeah.
the border, the background, or what?
No, I want the border.
So for the border, all I did was you realize that if you look at it, there's a border down, but there's no border on the sides. So I just select that cell and then I come to clicked bottom. Which one was it? It was bottom border. So I can change it to right, and you realize that there's a border on the right now as well. You understand? So that
Okay,
was
yeah.
that was it. That was it. Yeah. All right. Samuel Apia.
All right, sir. Thank you. So my question has to do with the functions you were using. Can you please go back to the sheet?
All right.
Okay, so you were actually using the function sum. So I wanted to find out if, for instance, you were being asked to find the total for dependents below 2. So were you going to actually filter out before you use the function sum, or you can also come in with an auto sum? I wanted to find out.
So now this is going to the realm of this is let me say this is the same thing that we keep saying all the time. In some basic applications, you not get the chance to express yourself this much. And there are some people for whom even Excel is not enough. I'm just telling you about a company who have now outgrown Excel because they've used Excel for nearly 25 years. And the things they want to do and the level they want to get to, they can't get to working with Excel. So they asked us to build something different for them. But the principle remains the same. can you express yourself? Yes. All you have to do is update the formula. So you are saying that you want to get the sum of all the cells, all the where the dependents are more than 2. So you are using a filter. So Excel allows you to do something we call if. You can either go the manual way, do something, write an elaborate statement, add an if. You get it. And then Excel has another formula or function called sum if. So it also takes some inputs. It will take the range of cells that you wanted to sum up, and then the condition that you wanted to use to refer to them. So I'm not going to demonstrate that, but I'm going to show you where exactly. I'm going to open it up to you. So where is it? Where is it? When you come to the formulas tab, now this formula, this tab has everything related to do with formulas. So this is also something that we were doing. That was just a shortcut. This is the father of the whole thing. When you come to more functions, you understand? When you come to more functions, I click show all functions. There is an extensive list of functions that I can use. All your sign, your course, and they are all here. You understand? Frequency and everything is here. In case you get what I mean. If there's anything that's not here, you can add a function yourself. Create your own formulas and use them. This is the becoming of an Excel power user. So I can come here and let me say I search for sum. All the formulas that have to do with sum are all here. There's some ifs, which will not take multiple conditions. But what you are referring to is sum if. So when you click it, it says it adds the cell specified by a given condition or criteria. This is the syntax. Use sum if, the range, then the criteria or the condition that you wanted to check for. Mute yourself if you are not speaking. And then the sum range. Range is the cells that you want evaluated. Criteria is the condition or criteria in the form of a number, expression, or text that defines which cells to be added. And sum range are the actual cells to sum.
Why we close with that?
We are all different. You get it. If you try to force it, and I mean, you oblige, but of it for the last time, I'll just go by the conditional formatting one more time. I want to apply conditional formatting to this entire column. So now there are so many options for you. You can create a custom rule. You can, a whole lot. But I want to do it a cell highlighting. So I say highlight cell rules. Then I say greater than. You can choose less than, between, equal to, based on what you want. Or if you want, let me say, text that contains. So if, let me say, you are working in the employee names and you are looking for married women, let me say married women are people who normally buy certain things. Let me say you're a sales agent. You want to filter out people who are women who are married, so you can sell kitchen utensils to them. So you can say, contains messages. You can do that, and a whole lot of other rules as well. But here we are working with greater than. So all the things that we choose, you can still edit them here. Anyways, it's still the same. Greater than what? So we say dependents who are greater than 2. We choose 2. Then we say what should they look like, or how should they be formatted? Say green fill with green dark text like this. Excel just shows you what it will look like. And then I say okay. Based on that, everything let me see, in the column which meets that requirement will be formatted that way. You understand? Green with the. So previously we've applied some formatting already, and the cells that meet that rule are yellow, and then the cells that meet the new rule are green. But there are some cells that meet both. 3 is greater than 2 and greater than 1. 1 was the first rule that we did, but the second rule takes precedence because that's the latest rule. So that's why we are seeing both the greens and then the yellows in there. Pascal, does that answer your question?
Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
Very good. I'm glad I could help. Anyways, Wilson, you put your hand down. If you're okay, then let me move on to.
Yes, I read the thing and I've understood. So thank you.
Good. We have Wilson or Joshua.
Okay, sir, please. So this is a request. I want to know if you can give us a trial question, not composer for Mark, but for us to practice this, so that we can get used to it, please.
Yeah. So, what I can do you one better. I'll give you an entire book. The book covers everything, and the book has exercises that you can practice as well. I mentioned that we'll be giving you assignments, take home assignments we will work on. So that's by the side. So you have the book. When I give you the book, you can spend all your time and review it and, have a blast. I'll be very grateful if you do that. Future you
All right,
will
thank
also
you,
be
sir.
very grateful. All right. Wilbert.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I wanted to ask if it was possible to save a function as a variable. Maybe you happen to be working on a complex task that you had to make a sort of like a lengthy function to sum it up. Can you save it as a variable so that when you go to a different self, you just call the variable and the function will place in that cell?
So you can do exactly just that. And that's the let me say, when you come to more functions, this insert function that you see, it's to create your own function. So if you click it, it says what are the inputs for your function. You can add more inputs for your function. And what will the result be? You get it. So let me even say this. I don't even want to use sum. You can add a custom function. I don't know. No, I think this is to create a formula, not. So let me look for function. Insert function. No, this is still a formula builder. More functions.
I think even also formulas can also apply. If there was a way we can save maybe a formula we did for a cell and we can use it on a different cells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can absolutely do that. I think I can't find exactly where, but you can do that. So we can look that up and then get to it later on. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
sure. Thank you.
Joshua Pia.
Yeah. Sir, please, what's the function of the watermark?
The watermark is, let me see, how do I even say this? A watermark is a watermark.
Let me explain to you.
Good. Do us the favors.
Yes, please. Suppose you use an itel phone to take a picture. Normally, after the picture, you see that there's a rating over there. This photo was taken with itel A16 or something. So that initial, those names that you see posted beside the picture, that's the watermark.
But the
Okay.
function, I learned they said when they do that, it means that the person has not paid for the thing. So you put in the watermark to
Oh no,
prevent the
even
person
even
from.
when you
No,
download a TikTok video,
Hello, sir,
Yeah.
they write a watermark on it.
So it
So
depends. So
sir,
what?
my suggestion,
Yes,
watermarks are used just for customization, just to customize
exactly.
something.
Exactly.
As simple as that.
Yeah. So if we make this long, it will become a whole discussion. So watermarks are just, so you have a document, sometimes it may be a splash behind the document or in front of the document to affix it, to stamp it. Sometimes they will say this document is a secret document, this document is a confidential document or something, or maybe your company, that's how the a standard documents in the company. Uh, Michael and Co. company, all the documents in your company are watermark like that. It depends, you understand? So let's not make a big thing out of it. So that's it for watermark. So Patrick.
Thank you, sir. What if maybe that if you convert the net pay or the net salary, like a histogram or a bar chart or a pie chart or something, is it that possible? And maybe even if it's possible, how are we gonna go about it?
So yes. So to answer your question, I'm going to refer you to yesterday's lesson. We did that yesterday. So uh when the recording is up, you can review the lesson and get the best out of it. Or when I post the book, you can go in there and experiment. Either way, the shortcut is to come when you come to insert, those are charts. So all this section is charts that you can play with it. Your PC will not spoil. Excel will not run away from your PC. Nothing will happen. You get it. When you make mistakes, it's even better that you learn that way. You understand, than me giving you everything. So don't worry, you get a hang of it. But this is where all those things are. Your pie charts, your line charts, your bar charts and histograms and area, they are all there. Maps. And you want to include the map in your documents, feel free. You understand? So they are all there. And I think we have 10 minutes left. I think I'm just going to, let me see. Today we have 103 people. People are 250 in number. So if you have 150 people in the class, it
Yeah,
means a
some
lot.
drop. Some people have dropped when you started asking questions.
Okay.
Yeah, some people. When you say if you know you have any question, let's discuss. A lot of people has left.
Okay. And it's a Sunday too, so I'm guessing people have church to go to, but
Yes, please.
anyways. So this is the IT class. I always want to be sure,
Yes,
right?
sir. This is the IT
Good.
Yes.
Yes, sir. It is.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think in yesterday's class, I said a lot to your colleagues who were in the class. And I mentioned that for those of you in the distance education class, there is a lot that goes on in the department, in the school as a whole, that you really don't see. And your status as a distance the student is supposed to be an advantage to you, so you have the flexibility to do more and relax and do your schooling and do other things that you want to do as well. But it very easily becomes a disadvantage. So many things go on in the department and you don't hear anything. And for some people, let me say, you could really use a lot of hand holding, but because there's no one to point you in the direction, nothing, you also sit there and nothing. Make it a habit. Every once in a while, come to the department. I know you don't know your lectures. Some of for the distance, I know Mr. Adingo teaches you. I know Sir Michael teaches you. I know a couple of them, but there are a lot more lectures in the department. You've not heard of Professor Katriku, Professor Wiafe, Professor Usu, Professor what's his name? Oh, there are a whole lot of them. Then there are the doctors. Then there are the senior lecturers. They are all there. They are not all people that you can relate to just like that. But when you, say I'm a student,
Professor
distance
Adingo.
student. Amen, amen, amen. You know, Professor Adingo he's working on his right. So very soon, you'll be hearing Professor Adingo. anyways,
Exactly.
anyways. So the more you get to know them, they also get to know you. For them, they are also interested in you also becoming valuable people that they can also depend on. You get it? Because I used to be a one-man person. I learned everything on my own. I did everything on my own, but there is no point. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. You understand? These days, if there's anything that I have to do, I get people, students in the department, oh, we have to do this. It's a project. Sometimes there is some incentive behind it and they're happy. Sometimes there is not. But either way, it's a learning opportunity for them because I know. And the little they can get to learn from me, they always see it as an opportunity and they always hop on it. But if you are not even there at all, anything that is going on, cry, you're not here. You understand? And unless you want to finish your 4 years before you realize, oh, I don't even know how to do programming. And I was even saying something that the courses that you are taking economics, you are taking what do you call it? Math
Statistics.
and a whole lot statistics. Hey, take them serious. Somebody will sit there and say, oh, in his head, me, I'm going to do graphic design. Don't be a fool. You understand? I'm saying this today. Today, if you are if the hat fits on your head, you think I'm insulting you. But graphic design, those who do graphic design and do it on a world class level, if they tell you that they do mathematics, you will not believe it. Unless you want to do in Quanchen graphic design and be designing flyers for churches every day. That one day, I'll not fault you. That's what you want, fine. You understand? So if you don't have the flexibility of coming to the department every once in a while, go online. You are on WhatsApp. Your colleagues in the department have WhatsApp groups. Join those WhatsApp groups. Every now and then, a lecturer will post something. He interacts with them. They interact with the students that much. They have what do you call it? There are a whole lot of the department has a computer science association, which also does a whole lot of things. When companies come to the department to teach students stuff and things like that, look for students, that's where they go. You are missing out on a whole lot. You understand? Go on LinkedIn, follow Mr. Adingo, follow Sir Michael, Follow all the people who are in the department. Go to research University of Ghana Computer Science Department. You find whole lot of people over there. And there's one thing that people also put in their heads. Oh, I'm not good at programming, so I will not learn programming. You see, the things that we did in Excel today, and the question your colleague asked about when you want to add conditions and this, that is programming. I was telling you I was the company who asked us to build an HR platform for them. What we did was we took the Excel templates they've been using for all these years, and we translated that into an application. All we did was we added some special, UI and functions to it. So now you can get notifications, you can send messages, you can do this, that kind of thing. But the core of the whole thing was in the Excel sheets sitting there that they've been using. The core of their business sat on the Excel sheet. If I took the Excel sheet and I went to give it to another company, that company also built a whole business on that and be making lots of money. So if you sit down and you put in your head, I don't know programming, I wish you the very best. We have Ivy. Ivy, please ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Please, I need some clarification on something. It's not about the course, but it's about an assignment that was given to us on Dcit 105.
Okay.
The instructions on the assignment was that it was a group work, but individual submissions was expected from every group member. So I wanted to, we are to discuss the work as a group and do the work individually and submit it, or we are to do the work as a group and submit the same answers.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be a group work, but
yes,
we are supposed to submit individually so he can give you marks. Do you understand? And also, there's also the instance where people will not do the work, and because it's a group work, your group leader will submit it, and that's it. So your group leader can either give you the file and you submit all right, but he will tell the lecturer that this person didn't do the work, and the lecturer will sanction you. So that's the purpose of that one. And so it's group work essentially.
My confusion is whether we are to submit the same answers.
Submit the same answers. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Submit the same answers. As long as you're in the same group, submit the same answer. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. John, do you have something to say?
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, what if maybe your your answers are different?
Oh, how can you do group work and your answers are different if you did the work as a group? Yeah, it's
Sir,
group work.
Okay.
Yes. The group work is also supposed to teach you something else in addition. Because if you go and do individual work and he asks you to present as a group, you will all start faltering and you'll be exposed. You understand? So if it's group work and you don't know how to do group work, learn how to do group work. Go to YouTube, go and watch how to relate to my colleagues who are this and who are that. There are people who are like that, but we learn these things. Anyways, we are all learning here. Francis, Ivy, if you don't have a question, you can put your hand down. Francis, please go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, I want to ask. They gave us some homework on Dcit 101, and it's a math work. So I did everything on my own. I didn't include AI in the assignment. I solved everything on my own personally. So
you didn't include what?
I didn't do it with AI.
Okay.
Yeah. So after the work, I went to check my plagiarism, and it was 56. So I was just wondering why it should come like that.
Yeah. So this whole AI thing, the AI thing was trained on human data. So I'm not surprised it happened. But you have to learn how to obscure the work you've done. So sometimes just vary your work a little, and I don't really know because maths is maths. But discuss it with your lecturer and see what possible help you can get on that. There's no one way to assess that situation. So yeah, discuss it with your lecturer. Make sure that you are in communication. Let him understand that this was happening because sometimes they may also just assume that you also copied your work from somewhere or you use ChatGPT to do your work, even when that's not the case. So be open and get his opinion on that. All right. Any other thing? All right.
Thank you,
My
sir. We are much
final.
grateful.
All right. My final word to you will be learn, as in read wide, and I want to see about. Let me say there are 250 of you. I want to see about 200 first classes from this class, and I'm
You
saying
get
that
it.
not just to say it, but to also tell you that all the things you need to get your first class, they are there. You just have to be disciplined. Me, I graduated with second class lower. I'll not lie to you. I graduated with second class lower because I knew what I wanted. When I came to the department after my first semester, I told myself that I don't want a first class because of where I was. I knew where I was coming from. I knew what I was going to have to go through if I was going to go after first class and the things that I'll have to let go. So I had to make that decision for myself. But today you have me in addition, in case you've not realized, to tell you this. I didn't have anyone to tell me this. When I came, the seniors who were around, they told me not to listen to my lectures. Eh, so all the things you need is out there. There are platforms that will teach you programming for free. There are platforms that will teach you graphic design for free. There are platforms that will teach you maths, statistics. There are textbooks, videos. You have AI assistants right by your side. You have everything you need. The one thing that will serve you most is initiative, taking the initiative. Next week, you know that we are having a class. So today was we did formulas, functions, and formatting. You know, next week we are going to do what if analysis. It will serve you a lot to go ahead, open the slides, try to do it, even though they've not taught you. Go and do it. If you feel you know that it's an attempt that you made, it will help you appreciate the next class a lot more. That way, if at the end of the class your questions are not answered, you have more meaningful questions that will take you to a higher level rather than, oh, say I explain it again. Those ones will not help you. You understand? Yeah. So I think that will be it for me. If there's anything else, you can talk to your course rep and then we can deal with them in the next class. Joshua, the class is ended.